Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is go into our Biat Games folder. This is an asset we downloaded from the Unity asset pack. I'll leave a link in the description, but you're probably better off just to download it and watch the videos. I'll leave that in the description. But anyway, go into coin animations and then in 2 times. Go into PNG and then 2 times. And what we're gonna do is just click one and then shift click the 16th one. So this is the 16th picture, so that it selects every single one. And if you just drag it in there, it'll just open up this little window, and we're just gonna take it away and rename it into coin and just save. Now our coin animation is actually already on there. It's already working. It's also created these 2 little things, but we can just leave these out. We can just leave these there. You don't have to worry about them because the coin, they're for controlling the animation, and the coin is just an animation that's going to constantly play. That's why it's also in culling mode. You have it in always animate. Anyway, the next thing we want to do is just, not avatar, we need to go into our, you can just actually just play it. Let's just test it out by playing it first, before we change anything. Waiting for it to load. Hopefully it should look, because remember, as I said before, it'll just look like all those pictures will be played so fast together that it'll look just like a video. So just wait for this to load up. It's taking quite a long time. This is unusual. Don't know why, but just wait for our character to fall because of gravity, and then moving forward, we're just gonna move him a little. And as you see, the animation's working. It's a little low quality here, but that's just because the animation's it's not recording properly because it's not meant up to do animations right now. But other than that, you can trust me, the animation is working and it looks really good. Try it out yourself and you'll see. So that's how the coin animation works, and there are a few more things you want to do to it. But first thing is go into sorting layer and change it to collectible. We did that in the last video where we made collectibles, and also in that we want to also set it to coin in tag. And just waiting for it to load up again. There, it should load fast like that. And it is working, and yeah, it's working. But the thing is, the only reason it's actually just going through the coin is because the coin doesn't yet have a box collider. So we're just gonna create one, box collider 2D, and just resize it until it looks like it's about the correct size. You probably can't see it here, but there's a little like green window around it, and yeah, it looks pretty good to me. So if we now once again play it just to test it out, and then you can see that it should work. When we go down, you can see it a little better this time, but the recording's just not working. But when we clicked it, it went away. It's working perfectly then. Yeah, so that was how we can make a coin animation. Okay, so now let's create an animation for our character. This is a little harder because it involves a few more steps, so let's go through it. Going into our Biat Games and free platform game assets, we're going to go into character animations this time, instead of just character, which is where we went before. And double clicking it, we're going to see a few animations. Clicking run, we're going to see this weird little sheet. These sheets are they're meant to be cut in a special way. Normally it can be a little hard, like cutting them specifically, but there's an easy way to do this in Unity. Clicking multiple, set sprite mode, you can see my cursor to multiple, then click sprite editor and press apply. Now, we're gonna just, at the top, we're just gonna make this a little bigger first. Then, at the top, clicking sprite editor, actually no, in slice, we're gonna click, make sure it's automatic, and just slice. Just click slice. And then, if we just take it away, you can see, if you zoom in, that they're a little, very small, they're a bit hard to see, but they're white like things around each character, and that just shows each frame of the animation. So this is now a sprite sheet that we can use for our frame by frame animation. Clicking apply, just close it and click apply. Then if we open this up, like this, click that little arrow, you'll see a lot of these. Those are all our frames. So now let's come back into assets, into our main assets, and we're gonna go over to window and click, and just go into animation and click animation. This will open up our new animation video, I think, window, and we're just gonna click our character. Make sure you've clicked it, otherwise it won't work. And then just gonna like, yeah, and go into all of our things, find our character animations, and find our character that we just caught. Then shift clicking so that we can get all of them. We're just gonna first we're gonna redock the animation. Once it's gonna redock the animation here, and just pull these in. But before we can do that, we need to click to begin animating character, create an animation, animator, and animated. All this stuff. So just click create, just name it animate, and just rename it to player, then -run, and just save. Wait for it to load up, and it'll create a new animation for us. Now we can shift click it and just select all these and just drag them all in here. This is gonna create this weird little thing here, and we just want to set that number up there to 12 quickly. It just helps. It's the amount of frames you have in our animation just helps with it. But it's gonna open up this little animation thing, and if you could play, you actually need to once again redock it. Just click here, and then in our character animation, we're just gonna go into our scene by first redocking this, then clicking play, and you'll see he's running really fast. We can't see him very well, because what we actually need to do is we just need to delete all those inner parts of our character. Don't worry, it's okay to delete them. You can see this weird running animation. It's really like laggy and fast. The reason you can't see it very well is because it's lagging from how fast it's going, because no character should go that fast. So what we're actually going to need to do is pausing our animation. We're going to select all of these, and then we're just going to pull these out and make our animation, just pull it out and make our animation longer, so that it actually like looks like an animation and doesn't just go off really fast on a tangent. Then we can just click play, and it's still lagging a bit with animations. This computer that I'm using right now isn't the best with animations, but I'll be upgrading soon anyway. So just going, and we're just going to create a new folder called animation, and then just move all of these things into the animation folder. Okay, so now let's actually tell the computer and how we're going to be doing and setting up all of these animations and when to do them. So you're going to see with all our animations here, we're also going to have this little character thing, and if we double click it, we're going to open up this animator here. So this animator window, I'm pressing my middle mouse button down to move around, and scrolling out to scroll around out. So this is where you're going to see all of these things: player idle, player run, jump, all of these. Those are all our animations that are for the character. So the first thing we want to do is actually on here, you can see that entry shows that when the game starts, it's going to go straight to player run. We don't want that. So we're going to right click on player idle and click set as layer default state. Yes. And then we have this. So the next thing we're going to do is just checking out over here. We're going to right click this and click make transition. Then we're just going to, like, you don't need to drag it, just move your mouse around and then click on player idle and it'll make a transition between it. Then also make one back so we can transition to player run and also back to idle. Then we're going to take any state because we don't want to set it every single time. We just want to set it so that from any state we want, we can always move to jump. So create one from jump to there and then make a transition so that from there it can't go back any state. So we have to go back to, so we have to put that transition over to player run and another transition over to player idle. So you can transition to all of those. So yeah, just take a look at that. Make sure yours is set up like this. Doesn't have to look exactly the same, but the transitions have to be the same. The next thing we're going to do is now create parameters. I've made 2 already, but let's delete them and find out how we can actually make parameters. Just delete these 2. Then, clicking the plus sign, click a bool, click bool. That'll create a new boolean. It's basically just a true or false value. We're going to call it run. Next, we're going to create another bool, and we're going to call it jump. So, yeah, jump will be either true or false, and also run will be either true or false. Next, we'll click on the transition between player idle and player run, and just set it, just in conditions at the bottom, we're going to click plus run equal run is true. So it'll only transition when run is true. We are running. Then over here, we're just going to click plus run is false. So only when we're not running will we go back to player idle. Next thing we're going to do is just do this little thing. You see this transition here? That's like transitioning between the 2 animations. We don't want that. So what we want to do is go into settings. Just click that once and then set transition duration off straight to 0. You don't need to do the exit time thing. That was just an accident. Next, going over to the other transition, I'm going to do the same thing to that. Transition time to 0. And there. Next, I'm going to come back to this one here. And all of these. And just set it so that it only goes from any state down to jump when you just click that drop down menu, will show when jump is true. Only when jumping is true will we go from any state to jump. Put exit time back on and just set the transition duration to 0. Then we'll just do the same to the other ones of these. Just click the other ones and just set to when jump is when running is actually we want to make it set when running is false, when jumping is false, so we're not running, and running is also false, so we're not jumping either. We'll go back to player idle. Change. Then we're gonna create another one and just call it when run. We're gonna go into run when jump is false, so we're not jumping. We don't want to be running and somehow we go into the air. That'll look weird. So only when jumping is false and running is false will we actually go between the 2. Now, just make sure none of them actually have exit time. Not exit time. Have a transition duration. Set them all to 0. And just that one too. And there, all of them are now on 0. All the conditions have been added. So, now the next thing we want to do is just, after checking all of them, it's good to check all of them, so looking at these parameters, we're actually going to use, so just dragging the animator back down here, we're going to click the play button, and just do this and make sure we can see everything, and click the play button. We haven't actually changed any code yet, so we can't so we're actually going to be using, next to the parameters, there's a little checkbox. We're going to be using that checkbox to turn our animations on and off, since we haven't actually gone into code yet and changed everything. So now that our game is running, it might take a little while because it's right after an animation's been added. we're gonna just turn on our, just gonna click our run animation, and once again it's gonna be a little laggy because of my computer and also the jumping animation. It looks weird right now because the guy just goes up and then comes down again, but when it's jumping it'll actually look good. So we can now unclick both of those, and there. You can just see that, and that is our animation. Now let's go into code and actually make this work. So to add the code in, we're gonna go into our character script here, our character move script. If you don't know how to make this, we've made it in a past video. I'll leave a link in the description to that. Anyway, let's just go and create a new public animator. I'm gonna call this a public animator. Public animator, and set it to animate. You can name it really anything you want, but I'm just gonna call it animate. Now, down in our jump, in our get input.get button down jump, where we run the jump function, we wanna actually, just before we just do that, and come down to our jump function, and now we're just going to say animate dot, but before we actually do any of this, a good thing to do is just to go back into Unity, click our character, and just wait for it to show up in the inspector tab. In the character, we're actually gonna just wait a second for it to show up. We're just gonna go and open our animations window, and in it, clicking our character again, we're just gonna go down to the bottom of our character. Oh, actually no, our character move script is showing up at the top, and just drag it into the animate section. Right now it's not showing, it's not loading. Sometimes this happens, so just click that little disc in the corner and click character, like it's a little disc there I clicked. And then, now we can go back into our code quickly, and in here, in our jump function, we're gonna say animate dot set bool, so it'll set boolean, and then put in the brackets and set it to jump. So this is case sensitive. You need if yours had a lowercase j, then you need to put a lowercase j in, but mine had a capital. So we're gonna write jump, comma, true. And actually, what we've gotten wrong there is we also need to put in quotation marks, and then it'll recognize it because it is a string. So yeah, we've gotten that. Now we're gonna need to, just going up, we're gonna need to edit our, going up, we're gonna need to edit our movement script here at the top. So what we're gonna wanna do here is just create a new if statement. If input.getButton up this time, we're gonna do getButton up. We're gonna just, and then if it jump, we're just gonna write the jump. So if we're not pressing the jump button at that time, then we wanna set it to animate.setBool. We're gonna do this, we can just copy this from there and then just set it to false. So we're not pressing the jump button, stop playing the animation. Now, there's one more thing we're gonna need to do, and this is just for our forward and backwards movement. We're gonna go over here and just below all of these things, like under our input.getAxis horizontal and our transform.position movement, we're just gonna create we're just gonna go down to the bottom and create a space, two spaces actually, and create a new if statement. If input dot get access horizontal, I just write it in quotation marks, horizontal with a capital, remember. So when we are pressing the horizontal button, then we wanna just get our transform thing. we want to do our transform.position, and when it's equal to, we're going to actually do another thing here. We're going to do exclamation mark equals. That means not equal to. So if horizontal is not equal to 0, which is like what it will be if it's not being pressed, over there, then we want to run our movement script, and also what we want to do is on a new line, we just want to do animate dot set bool run to space fall, exactly true. So we move. Then we can just copy all of that and then do and paste it, and just change this to when it is equal to 0. So when it's not being pressed, then turn run off. Turn run to false. And we don't want to have a movement script in there. We just want to turn run to false. So there. So now we can test it out. Just play the game and we can test it out. It's quite laggy here because once again running animations. I'll try and fix this in the future. But if you can see, our character is actually moving, and the jump, it might take a little while for the animation to kick in. Like he's really straight right now, but hey, there we go, our animations have kicked in. And now when we move, our run animation plays. You might not be able to see it very well. When we jump, we also play our jumping animation. It looks really cool. You guys should test it out and then you'll see how cool it looks. It's working really well, so that was a really good achievement. He is a little like unstable, and he does jump around and turn all the time randomly in really weird ways. Our character here. So in the next video or in a future video coming soon, we're going to try and fix out a few clunks and little things around here that are broken with our character, so that we can smooth it out and get it working perfectly. So yeah, that was it. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you liked the video, and see you guys next time. Remember to like and subscribe so that you don't miss the next video. And also, we've got a cool new logo, so check it out right here.